Welcome, Virgo. This is Regina from Pacific Tarot, and I'm going to be doing a reading for the last week of October. It's a general reading for the Virgo collective. I've laid out your cards, and I was inspired by last week's full moon in late 27 degrees of Aries, which has a very strong personal effect on me with my moon in Aries. However, for Virgo, the Aries-Libra polarity falls generally in between your second and your eighth house, which are the houses of your own resources, your own possessions and values, your body, and the eighth house, the resources and possessions that you share with others. So that is general based on your solar chart. However, a few planets move direct from retrograde, including Pluto in 24 degrees of Capricorn, Jupiter in 22 degrees of Aquarius, Saturn in 6 degrees of Aquarius, and Mercury, your ruler, Virgo, in 10 degrees Libra last week. All direct. However, you may still be feeling the slow speeding up, the slow acceleration of energies with the Mercury going through its shadow period now until the 5th or so of November, when it will break free from its shadow period and move forward. So I'm going to start your reading inspired by the full moon and start with reading from the bottom of the deck. And the bottom of the deck here is the Witch card in this deck, or the Magician card, number 1. And the Magician is a good match for you, Virgo, with Mercury, your ruling planet. You're being cleared to focus on your goals and your energies as appropriate, and to move deliberately and consciously towards that end. So this is an opening, a slow opening perhaps, of your creative will and your desire to focus on a specific goal. I'm going to start with the Sun cards here. The Sun cards represent you and the energy that you're now carrying. Introspection, which is the card for the Hanged Man, the Eight of Cups, and the Queen of Swords. So this is giving me an energy of your almost reflecting the planet Mercury itself, a standstill. So although Mercury has been now moving forward, it had to stand still to reorient itself. And I feel, Virgo, that you are consciously doing something very similar. You've been reviewing, you've been planning, you've been moving backwards. In some ways, there have been some confinement of your ideas, of your energies, perhaps some unspoken disagreements that now are slowly going to unfold in such a way that you can prioritize your self-nurturance. The Eight of Cups shows you moving away and out of these unsaid, unspoken disagreements, disappointments, things that you've experienced that you have not been able to name or describe or detail adequately. The Queen of Swords is also showing that you are consciously taking on the energy of being a witness to your thoughts, your behaviors, your patterns of behavior, in order to shape your reality, your understanding that this deliberate desire to reverse your thinking, to upend the way that you're thinking, is going to help you to alter your reality in desirable ways. And this is very important for you moving forward, because you're identifying that where you're at has not been satisfying to you, and in fact you are having difficulty extracting meaningful experience out of your current set of circumstances. Although you've invested a lot in where you're at, I definitely think that you are trying to restructure and re-witness your experience of the past, reviewing your experiences of the past particular to the situation you find yourself in or the relationship that you're struggling within, and you're looking to reshape that, reverse that, find meaning elsewhere, and look, in fact, to within introspection for a new understanding of your emotional landscape and the things that you want. The moon cards here are describing the situation you're in. Now, they're not reversed. The Ace of Cups, the Seven of Wands, and the Ace of Wands. We have two wands here, which is really beautiful. The Ace of Cups and the Ace of Wands are two very active, inspired, rich aces that speak of new beginnings, particularly new beginnings that originate in the self with self-love. And I am getting this strong energy of your desire and ability as Mercury turns direct and your attentions move towards something that has not been able to have voice, something you haven't been able to give voice to previously. You are now finding the self-will, the energy, the courage, the inspiration to move forward out of a sense of self-care, prioritizing your protection, your nurturance, your safety, and your desire, and kind of being released from a drama, I feel. The Seven of Wands is also showing you in a space of assessment, a space of review, of looking back at your means of production, the way that you creatively produce your efforts, the way that you work, and what it is you're producing. And this is giving me a strong energy of your desire to not only evaluate the fruits of your labor, but to a strong desire to improve upon your productivity, to improve upon the ways that you are not only producing what you work at, but also altering the way that you're distributing how you distribute your goods, how you make what you make, how you improve upon the quality of what you're making. And this shows indeed both the 7 and the 8s, and the Sun and the Moon trios are indicating an incredible investment, amount of effort. Your heart has been poured into your current efforts, but you are definitely looking for answers within as to the way in which you are now moving forward. And you are negotiating this opposition, this confrontation with the Mystic card, the Hierophant in the other deck, 6 of Swords, and the 2 of Wands. So this is you with a strong desire to move away from conflict. I see in this previous period of introspection, of assessing your productivity, looking for meaning in your life, you have felt yourself to be immersed in chaos. I called it drama. But it's also a sense of confinement, that you've been locked into a certain set of assumptions that you have been taking for granted. So the needs of others, the needs the marketplace call has been shaping your productivity in a way that has left you feeling anxious, certainly unsatisfied, and supremely unsuccessful to some extent. You're exhausted, you're worn out from this effort. Both the 6 of Swords and 8 of Cups indicate a tense kind of frustration with the inability to have your needs met, to identify your needs in the demands that are placed upon you. While the Mystic here shows that this is all helping you to stretch out into a new direction. The 2 of Wands shows you being willing to move past your comfort zone. And in order to achieve what it is you want to achieve, what it is you're now identifying as your goal, this is an area in which you lead and others watch or follow. You are moving away from the past and moving out of what you're very good at and what you're comfortable with. However, the mystic shows that apart from being a teacher, which you are also looking to understand the lessons that you've been shown. And this is recently. In other words, as a teacher, you are supremely a learner. In order to teach, to share what you know, one has to open up oneself to the process of learning. That is what teaching can be for you at this time. It's very important that what you learn, you are able and capable of sharing with others. But you're doing that in a different way. Rather than teaching overtly and explicitly, you are now using your personal process of learning, the way in which you process and absorb new information and ideas as a means of teaching, as a means of helping others to learn how to learn. I'm going to clarify a couple of the cards with the African Tarot deck. There are so many African Tarot decks. This one in particular is at hand. It's very thick and stiff, but I'm going to clarify the introspection card first with the Ace of Swords, the Nine of Swords, and the Seven of Swords. Wow. Okay. So there has been a lot of heartache. There has been a thorough exhaustion and a kind of at your ropes end. You have internalized a lot of the disappointments that you have experienced here. The Seven of Swords, you, in your effort to cooperate, to exist within this very charged environment that you're currently in, you have made an attempt to protect yourself, to keep away those influences that you deem most detrimental to you so that you can go safely within. In fact, I'm getting messages that you are prioritizing your safety and protection. You are trying to clear a space away from which you may finally grieve the many changes and disappointments that you've experienced recently. The grieving is at a point of release. The Ace of Swords is actually a birthing out of the grieving process that you're experiencing. Out of the process of disappointment and loss, you are gaining the inspiration and the clarity around the answers that are most in alignment with a new direction you wish to go into. This is really emphasizing your ability to detach yourself from a lot of the previously experienced emotions that you've had around a set of circumstances, a relationship, and from that you have committed yourself to pursuing your truth, a truth that is in alignment with you. I'm also going to clarify the Mystic card here, the Ace of Cups. I have the Tower and the Death card. Wow. All right. So here, the teacher is sharing their process of learning in the Mystic card. The Ace of Cups is a reinforcement of the terms on which you are putting forward a new concept, a new inspiration. This new inspiration comes from not only a self-love, a strong desire to understand the way that you can choose love at this point in your life, but it's also putting you in a flow. And this flow is very much tapped into this reservoir of love and feeling and collective experience that you now feel yourself divinely connected to and consciously an agent of. The Tower is your enlightenment, the enlightenment that you've gained in this experience. So you've gotten glimpses of enlightenment. You've gotten glimpses of ideas and solutions to a set of problems that have been plaguing you. You see clearly where the cracks in your efforts have been, where the cracks in the organization or the institution with which you work exist. And you are releasing that. In fact, Death card shows that you are consciously changing. You are constantly shedding and releasing an intense amount of old patterns, old habits, old thoughts, old obligations, and you're opening up here to the new. You're opening up your heart to the new. You're opening up yourself to the idea of working differently, being in the flow, identifying yourself in a way that's more collective so that you can, in fact, recognize and be an agent of the change that you see as necessary here. I'm going to pull a crystal oracle for you at this time, Virgo, and let's see what we can come up with. And I pull this beautiful amber card. I hope you can see the beautiful colors here. And this is citrine, abundance. I'm aligned at all times with the abundant energy of the universe. This powerful energy flows through me into every aspect of my life. And I'm going to leave it there for you, Virgo. I appreciate your presence. Again, this is Regina from Pacific Tarot. If you enjoyed this video and you found it useful, I would appreciate you liking and subscribing if you so choose. And until next time, Virgo, Namaste.